ago, I think we did an AR.
Okay.
So, this is all his father-in-law, this all was his father-in-law's land.
Where's the town line? Oh, Bill
Town line's
Montero.
right here.
He's
Yeah.
got, okay,
Yeah, Ontario, right here.
okay.
So, I think it was a couple of years ago, we came in and
Whoa.
we split off this lot for Ken. So his father-in-law still lives here.
Yep.
They split this lot off.
So was this, and now it's two, or was the whole thing?
It was two.
Okay.
There was a plan that
What's
broke this
the,
lot
what's the
up.
point of doing all this and wrapping this
Well,
around?
no, no.
Yeah, yeah. No, so-
I'm just
so
trying
it's-
to
it's
understand
kind of-
this well.
And we've gone back and forth. This is like, I think, the third A&R plan. And as he keeps moving back and forth in houses is when he grabs it. So
Okay.
originally, and I don't know if it goes back to, I think it was the 60s, his, Sherman, who was his father-in-law, built this pond out here, like a recreation area, this, you know, it's like a little park almost. And when we broke off Ken's lot, he had that as part of his lot and the rest of his land. Now, he is selling his house, and he's moving back over here.
Okay.
So what they want to do is basically retain the land and the pond, which is why they kind of have access here. And then this house will be sold as just a minimum backland lot.
This a parcel or a lot?
It's all one lot, wraps all the way around.
Oh,
As
that's why you
proposed?
have the piece over there, so it's all connected. So it's
Yeah,
all one-
yeah, I mean, all the frontage and everything comes up here. The only reason why we brought this through is, so there's kind of an access way to get
Okay.
out to the pond now. So if they ever wanted to use that in the winter, skate or do whatever, you know, they can basically access.
So it's still two lots?
Yeah, it doesn't create
Still
any
two
new
lots,
lot.
okay.
It's just shifting the bulk of the remaining land. They snowmobile up in here and stuff, so, you know, basically they want to just continue to use this land and continue to use the pond, but since they're selling the house. So we had to kind of include this piece now.
So this and this is one lot?
One lot, yeah.
This is a second lot, that'll be conveyed to third
Yes.
party.
Yeah.
How much frontage is down?
So they've
I
got,
get it.
it's got 214
Yeah.
feet of frontage without counting this
Oh,
25.
oh, that's 20, so that's insufficient to split it off later on as a separate?
No, you can't create any new lots.
Okay,
So it's
okay.
it's basically just reconfiguring the interior lines
Okay.
to help, you know,
Okay.
so they can use the property, I guess.
But how much does the frontage for the middle lot have?
This, so
Yeah.
we just created a, you know, basically a minimum backland lot.
Oh,
So it's
okay,
got 53 feet of frontage, so just over 50 feet of frontage.
okay.
It's got just over 4.5 acres,
It does, okay.
and it's got, you know, 2 acres of contiguous
Upland.
upland.
Okay.
So-
And there, in terms of curb cuts, there is an existing dirt driveway type of a thing?
It's kind of
It's
a
primitive, but it's
driveway,
something.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, they're not creating any new driveways or anything like that.
And then here, you've got a driveway.
Yep, existing house, this is existing house.
Okay.
So this is actually an area of Bolton you haven't been in?
I don't know it terribly well, no, for whatever reason.
Pond, a recreational pond?
I know, that's weird. I've never walked back here.
It's proposed.
I've been in somewhere in town you haven't?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this backs up to Andy's. So that, you know,
Right.
this is obviously his splits off down here. And as you go up to that cul-de-sac where Pace's lots are,
Yes,
they're all in the back here.
by the water
Old,
crossing.
old.
Over the bridge,
stone
yep.
Circle, right?
Yep.
So not all the way back by the end of the cul-de-sac.
Right, so the
but by
drainage basin,
Yeah.
right here.
Okay.
This is where that clear cutting occurred, where there's a dispute about.
Yeah, we were going back and forth about
Yeah.
this lot line.
Oh, so is this,
cutting.
this
Is this
is the
the
owner?
guy who came in about the
Must-
trees
yes.
at the time? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Fine by me.
I'll move that we approve the lot line reconfiguration as shown on the plan dated
May 31st.
May 31st, 2017.
I'll second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there a lot line in Bolton you haven't touched?
No.
You haven't
Probably
seen
somewhere, right?
the controller of the lot
Not a
lines.
lot of big pieces left. There's a few.
I know, it's funny.
There's not a lot that hasn't been surveyed, you know, as you know.
By your company.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes when people are looking for plans and things and I don't have it on file, I'm like, You may want to contact them. They
So-
seem to have everything,
So between us and then we obviously have all of Clyde's records,
Yeah.
Clyde Wheeler, so I mean, before that,
Oh, it's
you
just
can
one?
see everything.
Yeah.
It's more-
Do you like keep all those plans?
Yeah.
How do you want to do it? Oh, I see what your issue is now. Let's do them all. Do all of them. So what are the other big acreages of undeveloped land? What is it, the area behind it, in between Harvard and,
Yeah, I was gonna say that's one,
that's like
Behind the
200 acres, right?
yeah. That's
Where?
pretty well out behind your old house.
Okay, yeah. Is there that much?
There's a good piece there. Callahan's got a big piece.
I remember,
It's pretty much blocked out now, I mean.
well, every time,
Yeah.
every time a house sells on Harvard or something like that, it could
Yeah.
potentially become a
Yeah,
road.
Stacky's is on the market. Did you see that? That's
No.
changing over there. right
Wow.
there. Yep.
Where are they
40
going?
years, I think.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I saw him, I don't know, a couple of months ago. I was just driving through. I've stopped by the DPW. They're doing like some.
Right there.
He was at the end of his driveway. I pulled out my driveway. I pulled down my window. He had no clue who I was. I just kind of looked at him. Dave Yates way. He said, "Oh, you gotta be kidding me." He looked pretty good. Mike
That's all
Kevin still
natural
have.
heritage up there, though.
What's that?
That's all natural heritage.
Endangered, what's the endangered species?
Salamander.
Is it really?
Salamander,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That spotted
So it's
salamander.
tough. It's a lot of wetland out there. It's really nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
What else?
Not all of
What
it,
other
though.
big tracts of land are there?
I don't know, I mean, a lot of it has issues. There's the piece kind of behind where Habitat is. There's still like a 30-acre piece over there.
What's that?
The one where we just did the preliminary.
Oh, okay.
behind the highway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
You keep going down towards
Yeah.
Yeah.
the soccer field.
In between your house and my house, kinda.
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
There's some.
Colby's got a lot.
They still got a bunch, yeah.
They're on Golden Run?
I'm on Harvard,
Oh, Harvard.
so there's that big square there, yeah, Golden Run.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good night.
7:45, planning board to review appraisal of lot 73-8 Century Mill Estate. So this has taken a long time, but we engaged an appraiser several months ago to do an appraisal of lot 73A, the applicant's choice as to which lot for the special permit. And the assignment was effectively, I forget the exact language, but effectively a lot with an assumption that the lot is unimproved with infrastructure to access the lot. So he's allowed to pick a lot within the subdivision. He ended up picking one that's not enormously deep, not right on the road, kind of in the middle, which is kind of cool, pretty fair. And she approached the assignment by figuring out the value of a typical lot with frontage, and then deducting the cost to build improvements, infrastructure
The
improvements.
infrastructure stuff,
Road,
okay.
underground power, but no underground water,
So, I mean, that's pretty much what we wanted, right?
what it
Yeah.
should be, it's
Yeah.
what it should be. So she interviewed a number of site developers, she talked to some towns too, she got a kind of a diverse set of resources to come up with a number on a linear foot basis, and then multiply that by the number of feet from the frontage down to the lot. It's the right way to do it.
Why is it a linear footage and not a square footage? I'm trying.
Because there's an assumption that a linear foot of roadway, if the roadway is X, costs Y. X
Okay,
is,
I gotcha.
it's 25 feet,
Okay.
it's got Cape Cod berm. so
Gotcha,
kind
okay,
of- It's a decent way of looking, it's probably the only way of looking at it.
okay.
So the variable is, what does it cost, a linear foot, to put in a roadway? It has been 11 years since I financed a subdivision, and way back in those days, it was high $100, 150, 175, maybe 200 for a tough site. This is a site with a bit of rock, she took that into account.
And some slope.
She got a range from talking with all of her sources, of 300 to 700. There's one source that I know that was at 315. Obviously, the lower the number, that less
So what is this
cost, less
number you're
deduction,
saying?
higher the appraised
This
value.
number's for what?
The cost per linear foot to put in a roadway at
Okay.
this particular subdivision.
Okay.
And she got a range of, at the end of the day, from 3 to 700, and she went with 4 or 450.
400.
400, which I think is on the high end, but I can sleep at night. It is pretty
If that's
reasonable.
between 3 to 700, that's a fair number.
It is, in my opinion. It is a little subjective. So she started with a value for a typical lot. She looked at Century Mill Estates, she looked at stuff outside of subdivisions in Bolton, and she looked at the one by the International. When she's looking by the International, I don't know this from her, but just looking on MLS over the past year or so, there's plenty of 2s, 205s, 210s.
Yep.
When she's looking at Andy's actual subdivision for frontage completed lots, he's listed some for 225, 235, the nice ones.
Yeah.
You're outside of a subdivision, she had some data, and I would agree with it, that might be 180, 185. So she took 200. I think that's pretty fair too. She took 200, she took 400 a foot, multiplied by the number of linear feet. She deducted that from the 200. She wound up with 133,056. We kind of ballparked and had Andy put down a deposit of 140.
Yeah. Okay. On the road cost,
Yep,
the 400 per linear foot.
times 167.
So there's 160 feet of frontage, so it's 400 per foot.
Yep.
But that's covering both sides, that's covering 2 lots. The lot on our side and the lot on the other side of the road, right?
No, because you just said, isn't it, you just said 150 feet?
You know, the 150 feet of frontage
It's just
That's
that
what
one
I
lot.
is that one lot, but the roadway is covering this lot, but it's also covering the lot on the other side of the road. So it should only be, so it should only be half that. Only half that is attributable to this lot.
Well, she only used.
Because he's gonna be recovering the 200 when he sells the other lot.
Read the language in the permit, though. I mean, and I don't like the permit.
No, I'm just saying, but when, you know, when we're trying to figure out what the road cost
Well,
is,
but.
I mean, you can't attribute the whole cost of the road to, or of that 150-foot of frontage is not solely attributable to this lot.
Well, actually, wait.
Because
can I ask a
because
question?
other lots,
It should be, but kinda
the other
is.
lot is benefiting from it.
But the hypothetical is a lot without a road. So if now you've got a lot that's
Right.
approved at 200 and it's got a road, you gotta strip the cost of the road out. You can make the
Yeah, but
argument.
he's now double dipping because you were stripping the full cost of the road off of this lot, plus we're stripping, plus he's paying for, or he's gonna be charging the other people for the cost, you know, their
But
share
in
of the
theory,
improvements.
it's not just 2 lots, it's many lots.
Well, but just based on the frontage,
I mean, she's just.
I'm just, you know.
I mean, she's just using it to get an appraisal.
But,
I'm fine with the
but
numbers.
my assumption is when she got this $400 per linear foot, it was for a certain width of a roadway.
25-foot standard road.
Yes, so
Yeah.
that's going to take care of, I think,
In my mind, it's gonna take care of 1 lot and it's
Yes.
gonna take care of 100 lots.
exactly, so I don't,
So I think you have to take the cost of the road. It's a weird way of defining it. I don't like it. I like our new inclusionary zoning language. I like 200 grand as a flat number better. But I think we gotta live with the language. The
Yeah,
language says,
no, I'm just saying that, you know, that.
it's not intuitive.
Yeah, and I'm not, it strikes me as wrong that we're deducting the full cost of the road for that frontage from this
So
one
you think
lot.
the appraisal should be lower?
I'd say that, you know,
Half of
if
it
we
actually
say,
makes it
if we say it's $400 a linear foot, that basically, you know, because he's gonna be getting money from the lot on the other side, whatever that ends up being. So by deducting the
here-
full 400,
in theory-
it's double dipping on there.
If I don't disagree, but you could go down a rabbit hole, because in theory, if the house is here and the road is here,
Yeah.
it's not just one, two, it's every house in between. So it depends where the lot is. If it's here, it might be two houses, might even be one. If it's here, it might be 100 lots, if it's the last lot. And we didn't contemplate that in the language.
Yeah.
Trust me,
Yeah, I
I would
think
rather
that's-
it be a higher number, but I want to try to be fair.
Yeah, no,
I don't like anybody retrading with us, I don't want to retrade with them. I don't like the language.
No, I don't like the
But
language
it's
either, but
imperfect.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we're not shortchanging ourselves.
I think you gotta step back and say, it's an unimproved lot.
Unimproved lot.
You gotta take off the cost of the length of road that it's gonna take to get there. And in theory, he could have picked the last lot, the furthest away from the road, away from the main road, the access road. And we could have been dealing with 500 feet.
I mean, I think this is a pretty fair number, personally.
Whether you look at the way it was calculated or not, that was my reaction. I looked at it and said, you know what, I had a little gut reaction that the number was 140. So
Right,
Andy,
right,
because
'cause you
that's
can-
the check he cut, and we're at 133.
You can argue the road cost either way. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
he cut the check for 140 before this was done, or?
As a deposit,
As a
to kind of
deposit.
keep it going in good faith.
We required that to
Oh, yeah,
To
yes.
continue
Okay,
out
got it.
issuing permits.
So, okay.
So my logic has always been.
That was
when-
the 60 plus the 80.
Right.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
exactly,
yeah,
two
gotcha.
chunks.
Yeah.
My logic has always been, when we get an appraisal and we believe in the appraisal,
Yeah.
whatever that number is, charge him more to move on, or cut him a check for the delta
Yeah.
to move
Okay.
on. So I would propose we do that. It's about $7,000 as a delta.
And, yeah, we're looking at a difference of 3,000,
Right.
so.
So this gets them through to the 40th house?
I think that's
Technically,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah, and then we do it again.
And I'm assuming he's
Elizabeth is all
not
ready
gonna
to go.
argue.
That's true, that's true.
Uh-huh.
I'm assuming he's not gonna argue this appraisal.
I don't want to hear an argument.
I mean,
I think if we buy onto it, I think the reality is, it's, what do you do if there is an argument? How do you move forward? He orders an appraisal, comes
Well,
up with a
that-
number
yeah.
we don't agree with, and now we stop issuing permits.
yeah,
Why?
so.
Let's just move forward.
I
That's my
agree.
thought. You know?
Okay.
Okay, I'll move that we accept the appraisal for the affordable lot on CME for lot 73A.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Do you wanna, do we need to vote to get him the difference, or?
Yeah, it can't hurt.
That would be good.
Okay.
Authorize sending him
Yeah,
a letter
that's right.
explaining, attaching the
Well,
appraisal and cutting a check.
Do we want to send him the appraisal and have him sign off on it before we cut a check?
I would probably do that, yeah. We don't need any difficult.
We
Because
can,
otherwise send him a check and he come, and, you know, then it's like, you know, well, no, I think it's 125 and, you know.
Or just,
and it drags out for
my
one.
desire would be to nip the potential for negotiation.
yeah, just
And say it's done.
do contingent on,
That would be my.
contingent on he agrees with it.
Well, I think Dave is just saying, we send him the appraisal, we send him the check and say,
A
okay.
full
we're-
explanation of
Yep.
all the facts,
Yep,
and then
And
close
check
it,
is-
we're done.
and we're done, and then if
Deposited,
he
it's
wants to,
confirmed.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, I'll move that we refund to Andy $7,000 for the difference between the $140,000 in affordable deposit that he made versus the 133.
Is it supposed to be the exact?
And it's
amount?
6,944.
Okay, 6944, okay.
I just,
Yeah.
I just used my calculator.
And that we enclose a copy of the appraisal with the check.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
So if Andy comes back to me and says, I disagree with this appraisal amount, I'll say, the planning board has weighed in, they've voted, and there is no negotiation, and leave it at that.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, that's what I will do.
If you want to
I
copy
like
it on
that.
the email you sent,
Sure.
feel free.
I mean, I think he was happy with the 140 number, you know, else he wouldn't give it to us.
I think he would have,
He wouldn't have deposited it.
Yeah,
I think it's fair.
sure.
I think if you stand back and look at it, it's pretty fair.
Yeah, the last time I talked to Fred Kuhn about it, they seemed to think that it was gonna be a lower amount, because he was saying, oh, you know, we expect it to come in a lot lower, so you guys can just keep the money and put it towards the second round of affordable, so we'll see what they say.
Well, let's square at 133, and if they want to argue
Yeah.
and something else happens, we'll go from there.
How close are they to the 40?
They are at.
High 20s?
High 20s.
yeah, I was gonna say, I thought there was some
Okay.
20s.
Yeah.
Okay. We might want to get them, since it took so long to get this lot number, we might want to plug him to
Start thinking about the
what's going to be the
one.
next one, so
Yeah.
we can get it done
And a
in a
timely
more
manner.
timely, and because we're not going to be cutting them slack next time around on it.
Right, well, this time I
So-
think I'll be a little more aware of the process, and I can stop issuing him building permits until we have a lot number.
Right, but just the logistics of, I mean, even once they agree on the lot and we get the appraisal and,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, this
Sure,
was a
sure.
couple months to turn this around, you know,
it took a while, yeah.
So even just doing that whole, and he doesn't want to be without permits for a couple of months.
No, that's for sure.
So you might want to reinforce that to
I
him.
will.
Okay.
Okay, cottage overlook.
Cottage overlay, that was a cool conversation that we had. I think it was pretty
Yeah, that's great.
informative.
So I actually
Yeah,
asked,
chime in.
to add this on because I feel like there's a bunch of like decision points that we have to at least discuss, so we don't forget from the last meeting, so we can, I mean, I just wrote down quick here, we're over 55 or not, units per building, and originally we were saying 2x, but it makes sense maybe, so like 4 units, like a row townhouse or something. Another is density slash affordable units, so we said 2x with no affordable, 4x with affordable, so we have to determine that number, and potentially even more than 4x. And then the other is the open space usage. Can the well and septic be considered part of the open space? Were there any other kind of
Shoot, I had
points?
some notes on that too.
Those were my big ones. I think one of the takeaways I took from Doug was, why do a 2x density multiplier without affordable and a 4 with? Why not just say, because then you get into, well, does our old inclusionary, old meaning brand new, that we just voted in,
Or current.
a current inclusionary zoning bylaw governed? I think he's right. You just stand back and say, this is the density that's allowed, whether that's 4 or 6 or some number that we agree on. I think closer to 6 probably makes sense. This is the density allowed, and there is an affordable requirement. Here's what it is, 20 or 25%, whatever the number of the project needs to be affordable by households earning X amount of median income. But not an if-then, just a standard that this is what it is.
The whole payment in lieu of would never come into play.
Correct.
Only if you
Because-
wanted the inclusionary to kick in, rather than doing that. So it's up to you guys how you
Which
want
is
to
an
do it.
option. You could say instead of,
Instead of the 20%, you could do our current inclusionary bylaw, which is 1 for every,
yeah,
well, so if you say 1 for every
Which is
unit, is it every building or every unit?
Every unit.
So, yeah, so if you have 2 4-unit buildings, then you already have 1 inclusionary payment.
sure.
Yeah.
So,
I like the idea of just saying,
yeah,
here's your density, and X amount of the project must be,
affordable.
Like 20,
Affordable,
just saying 25% affordable or something
Yeah.
like that.
Or if you don't want to do that 25% affordable, you can use our current inclusionary, which,
I wouldn't give them an option.
you could give
I
an
would
option, I wouldn't
just-
though, yeah. I
that's
just keep
fine.
it
Well, I was
simple.
just saying, just trying to.
But no,
understand
that is a,
I mean, we're trying to solve a couple of different issues.
I'm fine
One
using
one is
20%.
variety of stock, and the other is, I mean, it's a chronic,
Yeah.
I would
Right,
say,
no, I want the
a
affordable.
chronic issue that, the people that are in town
Yeah.
have to,
Yep.
as they age out, they
Yeah.
have to leave town. There's no affordable place, so I think requiring the affordable is just,
Yeah.
and it gets us closer to that number, so we can avoid the 40Bs.
I think the two other things that I just had to add to your list was, he had brought up, does this supersede the footprint bylaw, and it needs to.
Supersede what?
The footprint bylaw, meaning the
Yeah,
8%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we need to make sure that's clear, that it does. And then there was the question of potentially having a cap on the number of units. Do we want that?
Or are we gonna, yeah, right.
And that was just a question to put out there. And then I think the rest of you.
So-
I mean,
the first one-
isn't there kind of a natural cap with that whole 66 unit thing, or?
It is until you get to the, I think, 150 was thrown out, 160, something like that. If you get a parcel, an area large enough for
For the
that,
sewer
then
system.
it pays to put in a packet system, and,
Yeah.
you know, so the question is, do we want a max?
Do we
You know,
want
would we want a 200 unit development going in,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, if they have a treatment, yeah.
Well, and just, I mean, you know, so, I mean, you know, the Lords decided to sell off their orchard up at the top of Long Hill, you know, which is probably big enough to justify, you know, 200 units or more probably.
Do we want
You know,
that as a
do we
town?
want that as a town?
Whether they
Yeah.
can do a wastewater treatment plant or not, do we
Right, do
want
we
that
do we
as a
want that,
density?
yeah, do we want that
That
size development?
Yep.
You know, so that's what we need to think, about. You know, that's why whether we need to think whether we want a cap or not.
Yeah, I don't know, because, I mean, like, I lived in Ridgefield in Clinton,
Yeah.
that's 300 plus, and the way they
Is it
design.
that many?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
It feels
Yeah.
pretty,
but it is like a big circle, so you never really see it all.
yeah.
It's a big circle with a lot of
Little
small
neighborhoods.
circles off of that.
So you never really see it.
So yeah, it can be done
Yeah.
nice, you know.
So do you make it more complex and say, do you tie it to acreage? I mean, that site works with that many units because it's X amount of acres, or do you just keep it more simple and say, look, this is your density? And let the math play out as it will. You know, if they're doing 6X times our typical zoning, and they can fit that in because they've got the Harvard Road parcel of 200 plus acres, then naturally it fits.
I mean,
It
to
governs
doing
itself.
50, if we
I don't know.
require over 55, you know, maybe that cuts down on a huge development anyway.
Yep. That was a big pushback that I heard.
That was a really big pushback.
And I think I agree with
I
that.
agree.
Well,
Yeah.
Open it up.
Well, I was kind of leaning the other, thinking about it over the week, I was kind of leaning the other way towards requiring it, but just to completely limit the number of kids in there, to maximize our revenue.
But I think you're
But
going
doesn't
to
get- it doesn't
minimize,
get used.
I think there's other ways to minimize the
Exactly.
kids.
Yeah.
And there's ways to make it appealing to single people,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you know, young single
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
or just recently married, and then you're over 55.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he was trying to get at, is
Yeah.
keep it open,
Yeah,
make it so that, you know, you get a maximum of the square footage in the bedrooms,
yeah,
which are automatically gonna kind of push
yeah.
your,
Bigger families.
yeah,
Yeah.
your bigger families out.
I mean, the only thing I was thinking is that we would sacrifice in other areas, which, you know, increasing the units per building, increasing the density to allow for a develop to actually develop it, you know, and keep the over 55. And that's what I was thinking.
I keep going
It's like
back
so
to
many
what
knobs
Doug
and
said,
levers.
and he was like, if you want this to work, you
Then
have
make
to
it
make it
easy.
attractive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were very clear on what they kind of needed, so in that retrospect, I want to kind of take their.
I think I lean towards you. There are some developers who have used, and this was like about 10 years ago, who used the 55 plus tool as a niche, and they built a market, and active adults liked it, and they followed those brands. It's a specialty. There are not a lot of developers who do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of more traditional developers. We saw it with the folks at Hudson Road, who I give them a lot of credit for entertaining the madness. They just came in with a simple proposal, and they
I know, and
they
then we
were
asked
they were willing to listen.
Yeah.
And you know, I give them a lot of credit. But they don't build 55 plus. They look at it and say, oh my God, yeah, sure, I can get great density. But at the end of the day, I, as a developer, and my bank care about absorption. And if I can't sell them, or if it's going to take 4 times as long to market and sell
Well,
these
I mean,
things.
Glenn Cook from Coldwell said that, you know, Regency is going pretty quick.
But that's her
That's the
perspective.
first, yeah, that's the first
She's the
25%.
You
And I
know,
think they said that the first 25% will go, will
Yeah.
go.
Well, no, but she's saying when they become available, they sell pretty fast.
I think they're still in that beginning 25% though.
No, don't.
they are. They just
No, we're
don't-
not talking about Sugar Road, I'm talking about Regency, the campground.
Oh.
Okay,
I thought you were talking about
um,
Stowe.
No,
Okay.
Okay,
no, I was talking about the
That's got a
campground,
similar name. I think.
which is 60 units
okay.
on 15 acres.
So what is that?
What
The
is
old
what?
campground? It is age restricted or it's
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
I believe it is, yeah.
And it is 40B?
55 plus, and it's
It's
40B.
both, okay.
Mhm.
There's 60, well, you had 60 units and 15 acres, right? So 4x density.
What I liked that they talked about doing was limiting the number of bedrooms. I
Yeah.
think you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So
Max of
only
2.
allowing
per
a certain
unit?
percentage
A
of
certain
3
percentage
bedrooms.
is 3
So like,
bedrooms, yeah.
Yes.
10% can be 3 bedrooms. or
Exactly.
something like- And I really
I
think
think
that's
that's
gonna do
great.
the exact same thing.
Well,
I
But then
think
it
so.
still allows like young professionals to move in, which we want.
We
So-
do want, that is diversity.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yep.
And it gives flexibility, yeah, because.
And having people move in with a newborn or something is fine.
Well, exactly, they
Yeah.
may stay there for the first 2 years or
Yeah,
something until
right.
they can afford, you
Yeah.
know.
Because then you do allow that entry point.
Yes, yes. That's what I liked. I liked the limiting it by percentage, limiting it by square footage and number of bedrooms, and basically do exactly what they recommended.
So like, okay, I mean,
So I guess
we could argue that point, but units per building, well, I mean, originally this said 2x, should we say
4X.
4x? I mean, because, you know, I'm thinking like, I always think Ridgefield in my mind, like, so townhouse is
Okay.
usually 4
Yeah.
units,
Yeah.
or 5 even.
It definitely makes it more attractive to them because building wise.
Less walls.
It's a lot more appealing, you know, you can build 4 units a lot cheaper than you
Yeah.
can with 2.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would be fine with
I mean,
it.
I was in a condo development in Lunenburg, and there's 4 per building.
Yeah.
I should bring in a picture because it's
Yeah,
really
it
beautiful.
probably
They
looks
look
just
like
like Ridgefield.
colonial homes, and you
Yeah,
can't
you
tell.
can make
Bring-
them
bring it
very
to
Yeah,
see.
I can bring a picture in,
Um,
so.
I would be in favor of doing 4X.
4x, yeah, because then you allow for the
What about
townhouse
more?
rows.
Like 6X?
Does it turn,
All-
when does
all-
it turn
all I
into
can-
an ugly issue?
It's on across from the cemetery in Hudson.
I
They just
fi- I
put in
find
a
it-
strip of, you know, they're like, it's like 10 units.
I'm trying, as we're talking
in a
about it,
row.
I'm
It
trying to
starts to
count.
look like a motel.
It looks,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just, yeah.
4x is, that's what Ridgefield is.
It
4x.
seems, 4X was the number that they threw out. I know that they like
Appearance-wise,
6X, but
it's-
4X seems like it would be,
I'm sure it's a lot cheaper. to
Attractive.
build,
Yeah.
but
It
it
is.
would work for their numbers.
Cheaper to build.
appearance
Yeah,
wise,
I-
So when do you?
I'm not sure I'm
what's the
willing to go to
number?
6X
When does
yet,
it turn?
but
We gotta
I'd want
look
to
at
see
different
some
examples.
attractive 6.
I mean, for I mean, I know Ridgefield is 4 per building.
Yeah, yeah.
And
They have
those,
all
and
different
it's
styles,
usually
yeah.
like, you know, a couple of single floor,
Yeah.
2 bedrooms, and like a couple of,
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
different, all this,
you know, multi-level.
it's like
with-
10 styles.
Once you
Yeah.
start getting to like
Right.
6 and 8, I mean, you really
It gets
are,
really big.
yeah, you have a long line and it's hard to stagger them. I
You
mean, I
think it's
you can
6
do-
when it turns into a line, very lineal and
Yeah.
not too.
I mean, I
creative?
kind of
Probably.
like the 4 and just,
Yeah.
I'd be willing
4
to
is
go to
good.
maybe 5, but
I
I'd
think
be
4 is
comfortable
good.
leaving at 4 too.
I think we have to remember too that design review board's gonna get kicked in, so
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
that they come, bring forward, we can have.
We can
our
review that
Actual
and-
review,
Yes.
so.
Yes.
Then density affordable, so we were saying.
That's a good point. So to go higher on our limitation, let the flood come in and then take a look at it, and if a good design can be done, then great.
So we say
Like
4x, but we're open to higher if it,
Yeah.
how do you word
No,
that?
I
No.
think you
I think you
gotta,
just pick a number and then you look at the design review
Yeah.
board. We gotta see some examples, I think.
I think we do, because if maybe there is a very attractive 6,
Yeah.
or maybe there's a very attractive.
I'm not against
I
it,
don't,
though.
I
I
don't
think
know.
at the end of the day, it's really gonna be about the site and whether or
No
not
doubt.
it's handled. I mean, it's,
No doubt. Does
Yeah.
it step up?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
funky things you can do with elevation? Is it a flat field?
yeah.
Yeah.
So the density affordable, we still at 20% affordable or 25%?
I think
Somewhere in there?
40B's thing is, well, there's an option. It's 25 earning 80% or less,
Mhm.
20 at 80 or 25 at 50. We don't want to make it too complicated. It's probably 20%.
So then density would be a minimum of 4x per acre. I mean, that's what Regency is, campground. I mean, is that what we want to say, or do we want to even go higher?
I would go higher.
Because
I would
the
go
overlay, which I think considers kind of like apartments,
10.
is 10x.
So why would we even deviate from that?
And that's the other question, do you guys want apartments as an option? If
I
we do
would-
it, well, yeah.
I mean, so this is a cottage overlay. I mean, I don't know if.
And it
I'd be
may not, it
perfectly
didn't have to
open
be
to
an
it.
overlay as well, that
Yeah.
was the other thing that Doug mentioned, do we wanna just go by
Oh, that was the other
requiring?
thing.
The alternative
acre
here,
size?
when you start limiting it too much, and the apartments question is a great question.
Yeah, I want apartments. I do.
Apartment construction over the past 5 years has been rampant, and I think in a good way. I think it's been pretty responsible. I financed a ton of it. I did a bunch of 40Bs. 40Bs can work out well with the town, and they can solve a problem. When you're at 3.5% affordable, you're that far away from the cap.
Yeah.
To be
We
creative
need an
and
apartment.
bring the control in to
Yeah.
an apartment, and have one, I won't even pick a number, one traditional apartment community, like the
Yeah.
type that are being built now,
Yeah.
come into town, boom, every single unit
100%,
counts.
yeah.
You're at your
Yeah.
10% with one project,
Yeah.
and
Isn't
you
that what
controlled
started?
that. Design review board
Foxborough
controlled it,
just
selectmen
went in, now
controlled
they're
it,
constructing.
planning board
Yeah, the
controlled
big one
it.
behind the gas
Yeah.
station.
Not just mass housing and the ZBA.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree.
So if we say 10X, does that allow for an apartment building or per acre?
So wait, explain to me again why we're going up to 10X?
Probably not.
Well, it's just
Probably,
the density
because
per
it's
acre.
consistent with the mixed-use overlay.
So say you have
It's
a,
kind of doing the same thing.
like, so Regency
Well, the same
has
intent.
60 units and 15 acres, so that's 4X.
4.
Okay.
If we're saying, you know, if you have 10 acres, to make the math easy,
Yep.
you can have 40 units, or, you know, if we say 10X, you can
We
have
have 100
100.
units.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, topic of thought, I don't know.
So we're somewhere between 4 and 10.
Yeah, probably.
So open space,
Part of me questions why it would be different from the overlay. Part of me says, well, the overlay's a retail thing. too.
right, yeah, right.
Well, that's,
It's a
and that's
different
where
kind
I
of thing.
think,
It is a little
I think
different.
it makes sense, you know, just mainly because you're combining
Yep.
different,
Yeah. Uses.
land uses.
Yeah.
And, you know, you would want smaller, more dense
Yeah.
units when you've got retail.
Yeah, so maybe it is different.
I would go that way. I look at this as not, I think 10X is, I don't know, it's just.
Well, okay, I mean, so that's like a future discussion point, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
I didn't want to solve it all tonight. I
No,
just
that's
wanted-
fine, that's fine. So we're
I think
somewhere
we'll-
between 4 and 10.
These are good notes, they're all consistent with what I remembered too.
Yeah.
We should probably, after this meeting, just all do red lines. Send them to Erica and
Yeah.
talk about a revised
Yeah.
one next meeting.
So open space usage, they were saying they want the well and the septic to be considered part of open space,
I think
right?
that
I
absolutely
think that's a
makes
great
sense.
It makes sense.
Yes, especially with the way lots have to be done in Bolton
Yeah.
and the fact that those are required.
Yep.
There's no reason to exclude them from open space.
Okay, well, it's easy.
So now you've got the same open space requirement,
Yeah.
but your
Exactly.
calculation is inclusive.
Yeah, you're allowed to, and that's fine because it's gonna be grass or whatever it is over it.
So we said supersede footprint by law, which, that's fine.
So are we putting, we're not gonna put a number on building coverage, right? We're just gonna say
Right.
that the 8% doesn't apply.
Right.
Yes, I would just say it
Because I think
doesn't
it's too
apply.
Yeah.
too
Yeah,
complicated.
yes.
once you
So
start
we just need to
doing
be
I like that.
clear.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Do we want to cap, and then, so the other thing was, you know, what would the overlay be? And I think it's everything, as long as you're more than 10 acres or something like that.
I agree with that.
So you're
You
saying
weren't
don't
sold on
use an
that
overlay?
before.
You're
Well,
saying,
it is an overlay, but it's everything,
I would call it an overlay.
no, I don't think it's an overlay.
Oh, it's not an overlay.
No, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. So if
It's a
you're,
new
if you're
article.
saying it's a,
Anything, any lot over 10 acres.
okay.
Yes. Residential, business,
Yeah.
any of them.
Do we want to give up the business?
Don't necessarily, so we just want to say
So,
residential.
so we just
Just
say
residential.
residential.
10 acres, plus 10 acres, that seems like a good number.
And I like that a lot better than picking a few sites. That might have been the problem with the mixed-use overlay, that it limits it to a few sites.
So it's plus 10 acres and residential only.
And res,
Yeah.
I think if
They
we
said
go
everything,
that
but-
direction, we may not want the apartments then. Because I think we want to be very specific on where we put the apartments. Don't you think? I don't
Feel
think
like we might
want
have
it-
one location or two locations we want apartments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Whereas not in the Long Hill, you know, farm.
Yeah.
You want more of like a,
The reality is, if you do 6 per unit, it's not an apartment complex.
No.
It's a detached.
which you might need it, you might, so we're saying this is a cottage bylaw, you might need an apartment overlay or something.
or what we could do too is if we go the apartment route, just do larger property offsets, make.
Yeah,
them-
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but so it would be it would be separate, we would, just like you said, we would do a separate bylaw for the apartments.
Yeah, I think that's, it might muddy the waters.
You're right, it might make sense to keep this separate for
Yeah.
what we wanted to intend, and then maybe, because like you said, we're saying anything 10 acres or over.
Yeah,
So we're
Because
just,
frankly, folks in the town might really fancy this and might not fancy the apartment.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
So why wrap it all
yeah,
up?
exactly, and I think the apartments
idea is
may be
diversity,
a
one step
bigger
at a time.
discussion amongst the
Yeah.
town,
yeah.
Yep.
so.
Yeah.
And
let's not
maybe in
mind
10 years, like see how this plays
No doubt.
out, if this works. Maybe
Yes.
in 10 years, we say, I think we need apartments to get us over that, affordable housing concept, so.
Yeah,
And then we said, do we want a cap?
Do we want a restriction on the percentage of 3-bedroom units?
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that idea.
yeah.
Do we even
I mean-
need 3-bedroom units?
No,
Is
I
that-
think-
is that-
I think
is
allow
that
it.
like- Is that like a carrot for the developer?
I think it
I think it is,
Yes.
and it does help with, again, there will be some kids there, but if we also cap the housing, the unit sizes, I think that will tend to hopefully minimize that.
So that would be like 3.
Yeah, 'cause it-
We're not gonna get to your goal of 0 kids.
That's the goal. 0 kids.
But I think it does give you kind of,
Allow some
starter
diversity.
families and
Yeah.
some, and it also gives you room
So what,
for
like 10%?
an in-law or
10's a
something
good
like that,
number.
yeah.
You don't want to do higher than that?
I wouldn't
No.
want it. I want none, so.
I was
So
gonna say
10%,
15, I was gonna say
better.
15, but 10%.
I could live with either.
And do we want a cap on the,
On the number of.
well, square footage per unit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Square footage. Oh, yeah. What did they say,
Well-
2,400?
I think they said.
Oh,
So
yeah, no, I
Hudson-
think we
Hudson
do, I
has
think
a-
we do. Yes,
Hudson
they've
is
given
a
us.
2-bedroom,
2-bed,
2,400 feet, yeah.
So we just simply say 2,400 feet, 10% 3-bed, leave it at that. It's a little bit more forgiving.
I mean, it gives the developers a little bit of latitude
Yeah.
on things.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the 2,400 square feet would be for either the 2-bed or 3-bed?
Correct, that's
Or
the max.
1-bedroom if
Per
you wanted
unit.
to.
Yeah, you could have a 1-bedroom,
Okay.
2-bedroom,
Nice and easy.
3-bedroom.
Or across the
Yep.
board is the
Yep.
max.
A
Okay.
maximum,
then-
yeah.
Only 10% of them can be 3 bedrooms, the rest of them can be 1 or 2.
Okay.
I think when we're on board with a second draft of this too, we should recirculate it to those guys.
Oh,
Have another
definitely.
Yeah, and just
Right?
send it
Did
out,
we
just
go
say,
off the
can you let us,
reservation? Yeah.
let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, what I would like to see happen is work this out through the summer and then come October, November, let's do a forum where we advertise in the
Introduce it.
paper and then
Yeah.
residents can come and ask
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you see Don all the time. I would keep in touch with Don. If he's thinking there's going to be a special town meeting, we should, push it a little bit. I would like, if
Okay.
there
If
was
there's
going
gotta
to
be one, then yeah.
Yeah, I would like to get
I
it.
wouldn't make it for this, but if there's gonna be one, sure. I think there probably will
but
be.
isn't that usually in September?
Just
be.
depends.
October,
It just
November.
depends.
They can be in
Second
October,
time
okay.
meeting.
Although, I mean, I guess I was kind of thinking that for this Hudson Road, which that's not even an option. So
Right.
maybe if
Yeah.
we're rushing it, maybe the town feels like we're pushing it on them somehow. So maybe that's a negative too. I don't know.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
clearly said he's not gonna be
Yeah, I
able
said go
to,
away.
so,
Yeah, thank you, but no.
yeah.
So why don't I attempt at making these revisions for you and then I'll send it out.
Yeah, cool.
And then you guys can make your edits and then we can talk about it.
I mean, you probably have all the same notes, but
Yeah,
just
I
in
kind of
case-
wrote the same stuff down.
Just in
You did,
case
Okay.
you can.
Yep.
So one of the things that I didn't bring some, I don't remember anywhere in here where we're discussing, it talks about parking for the units, but there's nothing in there for basic visitor parking or overflow parking.
What did we say? Number of units, number of spaces per unit and a story?
Well, we can either say number of units per, or we can say each unit has to have, I think it says in here,
It does.
I think 1-bedroom units get 1 parking spot.
Yeah,
and
2 bedrooms get 2.
2 plus get 2, and then we may want some
Visitor of
percentage.
X.
Every
Per number of
Well, I
units.
mean, the way Ridgefield does it is, I think like every
Yeah.
2 sets of buildings kind of have like
An
2 or
extra.
3, like 3 or 4 community spots
Yeah.
somewhere. Like this, like,
Yeah, it's a multiplier.
Yeah.
That's totally what you do.
Yeah, yeah,
This
exactly,
number
yeah,
of parking
yeah,
spaces
that's
per-
not, so it's something that we should,
just
Okay.
take like, 20%, the number of units times 20%, you could have that many extra spots somewhere,
Yeah.
So
Well,
you don't, I would say you
distributed
want them.
at the building,
Yeah, because I was,
you know.
you don't want them all in one
Not-
spot, you want
yeah,
them
yeah.
kind of
distribute.
throughout. so-
Well, I'm saying, you create some number of extra spots and then.
And then the
designers
developer
spread
can
it.
figure out where
Yeah.
he wants to put them, yeah.
But, as approved by the design review board or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
Want to talk about Airbnb, 8:15?
So, I think, what I asked our Tad this too, just with the new decision. I'm not sure there's too much to say, except
Yeah, because it was,
I kind of agree. He pretty much took out,
yeah.
what we were saying.
As,
Are you guys here for that, or?
Please, if you want, if anybody.
Nothing to say, just wanted to hear what was
Okay.
going on.
Yeah.
Are you married?
Yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you.
My husband had.
So you guys are, it's Mary, so you're the one who wrote the
Me.
packet.
Me your weekend.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you spent a lot of hours on that.
Yeah, not to speak for Mike, I think he looked, I think there's so many different pieces of legislation governing something like this. He looked at one and made a decision, he
Yeah.
pointed in the direction of another one, which was from Board of Health.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Board of Health
So
and,
septic was the issue effectively?
well, it was Board of Health and regulations, I forget what it said. It was something-
The key words when I talked to him
Yeah.
about this was the fact that this was addressed to code enforcement
Yeah, that's
agencies,
right.
and he considers himself just that. So
A
he
code
said, this
enforcement
applies
agency.
to me, I have to follow this.
Yeah.
So,
So even though it
Okay.
was Board of Health, it's, yeah, I think you're right, it's the
Yeah.
code enforcement
Yeah.
portion of it.
Departments, but also to code enforcement agencies, okay.
I mean, when you think about it common sense wise, it makes total sense that it should follow the town's
Yeah.
bylaws. Now, so that settles that. I mean, and taking a step further is, does the town want this or not? So that's what we have to discuss in the future if we want to add, like we were saying, a special permit process for an Airbnb. So if, say for instance, there was a special permit process to allow hotel lodging and residential, there would be a hearing and you could come before it, whereas before it just happened. In this case, if there was like a special permit, the neighbors could come
There's a
out.
process.
There's a process and the neighbors could come out and be like, this is a really close, or all the houses are close in development, doesn't make sense, whereas if somebody lives on a 20-acre lot in the middle of nowhere and it's not gonna bother anybody, then there's gonna be nobody who
Or a
complains.
commercial area, Maine
Yeah.
and Four Bush Mill, there's a
Right.
commercial lot there. I'm picking on them just because it's the last one that we saw.
Right,
Maybe it makes sense there, maybe it makes no sense on Meadow Road.
right, that way, and with the special permit process, you take it case by case, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think we were saying, along our no kids line, I mean, I think we've talked in past meetings that we're actually not against, houses, become potential lodging. If
I'm
it
not
made,
at all. I think
if
it's
if
great.
if it made sense.
yeah.
If it's a really,
I think
like
there
a
needs to be
subdivision.
guidelines.
Yeah, it needs to be guidelines. If it's a subdivision versus it's a house in the middle of nowhere,
Or on a main drag, or
Right.
with a lot of,
Yeah.
on a big land, a big lot, like you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we ought to look at it and put together a simple bylaw.
I think we need to address it because we don't need to have the ambiguity of,
Yeah, we're open right now.
yes, and it could be.
Yeah.
but there's no ambiguity now that Mike.
Yeah.
There isn't.
There is
Okay.
none. So
Okay.
now I know exactly if someone calls me and says, do you allow Airbnb?
No,
No, we don't allow lodging houses, and it's clearly stated in our.
Okay, so right now,
that's a
with
good
this
point.
decision.
It is.
This is not the
It's
marijuana
defined.
moratorium.
Oh,
We're not-
okay, so then I
That's a
guess
good
the
point.
question is, does the town want
Want
to
Do we
entertain?
want it?
Exactly.
Allow.
So the problem
Yeah.
with the problem with this ruling is, I think we do have one bed and breakfast in town, whether they're actually active or not.
Which actually went through the Board of Health to get permits.
Yeah, so
So-
this
So-
decision kind of screws them over. I
No, it
think.
doesn't.
No, I don't think it
because
would.
they're a licensed bed and breakfast.
Yeah,
Right, but they're in residential. I mean, I guess they're grandfathered in, so.
Airbnb are subject to licensure and permitting as a lodging house or bed and breakfast
so
establishment.
that's why they're allowed. The
So-
Airbnb was not licensed through the Board of Health with the amount of people
Yeah.
that they were having over. So that's why they were,
Right, but we're saying residential, there's no lodging.
Yeah, so that was my main argument, that the laws say it's residential. If that, I don't know where that Airbnb
I don't
is.
understand.
That if,
Well, no, it wasn't, it's like an old bed and breakfast that's been there for many years.
But it's licensed.
It's
yeah.
licensed as a bed and breakfast,
Yeah.
but there's still lodging in residential. I mean, I don't want to open up a can of worms or anything, but, because nobody has a problem with it.
I did ask Mike about that, because I basically said, I assume there are other
Yeah.
locations in town where this is gonna come up, and he said, we'll take it day by day, and as issues arise, he'll evaluate it, and we'll go from there, and I think that's really the only way you can handle it.
So at this point then,
I don't think.
it's not allowed.
No.
And right now, do we feel like we need to address this? I mean, to allow it or to just say?
I
right
wanna
now, this-
allow
I
it.
would
Special
love to
permit.
allow it, but I would love to allow it if the town wants to allow it. And
Well,
if the town
that's
says
where-
I would want a
no way,
special
then-
permit process, and
Because I don't want-
if the town says no, then fine, the town says no, but if the town says, well, maybe it's a good idea.
Do we
Why don't-
dare
why
do the
don't we
Facebook?
survey? Yes, I think that's a great idea.
It
What's
does
that?
get, it
Yeah.
gets some good sentiment out
Because
there.
why do the legwork to do a bylaw
Yeah.
if not? I
No,
don't wanna
that's
vote.
what
enjoys
I'm
the
saying. So,
business.
I could put it out there.
Well, if this already
Eric, go
covers
for
No,
it.
it is a good sounding board, it gets some opinions
Yeah.
out there. We don't do anything based off of
Yeah.
it, but we just have more of a
I can put it out
conversation.
there.
And
I'm sure we get a lot of their
survey.
neighbors who say, no.
No, but it would be worth it, because
It'd
if
be
this is
interesting to
basically
hear.
saying no for now,
Yeah.
why go through all the effort
Yeah,
to
yeah.
say
Right.
yes and put all these guidelines
Well,
and
because,
stuff,
and actually,
if everyone still says
I
no?
mean,
Yeah, I totally
you know,
agree.
we're thinking about major things like, you know, this cottage
Yeah,
bylaw and, you know,
That's
potential-
different.
I want to look at like coverage of business. So there's bigger things that I would like to do. So I agree, yeah. If people, why spend the time if people?
yeah, why entertain
Let our
this?
neighbor chime in.
I just think that there's a lot more to it than what you guys realize, because you don't drive past the place every day. We're at the other end of Kettle Hole, so I know the other neighbors might have had even more immediate concerns, and I'm surprised that some of them aren't here. But it's not, it wasn't really quite the thing like the once or twice a year, someone rents their room
It was
out, like
active.
what you guys were thinking of. And I think the laws, the way it reads, it says residential, like that other B&B, they technically may not supposed to be there, but if no one's complaining
Right,
about them, no
exactly.
one's gonna try and screw them over because
Yeah,
they're in a
yeah.
spot, it doesn't matter. But there's a lot of more issues than I think you realize, because all of a sudden, like I joked with my neighbor across the street that if they didn't change it and stuff, I said, well, we can go live somewhere else and we have a really nice house and we can rent it out, and all of a sudden you're gonna have Kettle Hall be every other house is an Airbnb.
To your point, I do realize it, and I can appreciate that. To put a bylaw in place and say it's subject to special permit airs that stuff out, because it looks at a site on Kettle, on Fox, on Nashaway. Those are the neighborhoods in town. Those are the prime examples. It'll look at a site like that, and have neighbors come in and express their opinions. We can look at it logically and say, it doesn't make any sense here. Where, I'm trying to think of a good example. Well, it's not a very high destination area, but like the corner of Forbush and Main Street. It's kind of a commercial type of a sector. You got no neighbors that you're really in front of and bothering. If I'm looking all the way around, would that be the best business
You got a high
place for
school
that?
right there.
Maybe not.
That's
But
not
from
right.
a grievance of the neighborhood type of a standpoint, that's like
And
makes
property
sense.
values, I think you have to start thinking about property
Oh,
values.
that's all I'm thinking
Yeah.
about. That's all I'm thinking
Because
about.
I don't know if you're, there were a bunch of other Airbnbs, I don't know if they're all like one room or something, that are in Bolton. So I don't know if Mike's gonna start sending letters to people to not do it or wait till there's a complaint, because they may not be the same kind of situation that we had.
When we have one use in town, and that use strips our revenue source and throws our budget out of balance every time that use is exacerbated. My taxes go up and my property values go down. So trust me, we're thinking about that. This is like a creative
I know,
balance.
you guys don't want it on your street, trust me.
Well, so
I
there's a
would
couple,
welcome it on
there's a
my
couple
street.
things.
I would have no problem.
There's a housing, lodging, and residential special permit, but also a bunch of towns do a Airbnb specific kind of short-term rental. And so what we could say is that we allow a short-term rental if it's owner occupied, or if it, or even something like that. So if it's owner occupied and they're renting out a room,
Yeah.
then that's different than renting out a whole house. So we could do something like that.
I would say at this point, there's multiple things that we could look at, but I don't know if it's necessarily wanted.
No,
No, you're totally right.
So-
I mean, it's just
see
on
if
the, we're
anybody
discussing it
wants
because it's
Yeah,
on.
I like your idea of sending out a survey and just
Yeah.
getting it out there
Yeah.
to see, and then we
Just
can
go and
see.
post
what-
it and get your asbestos clothes out and post it and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to solve a problem that's not there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Huh?
Exactly. There's so many
Okay.
other issues.
And you don't want to get bad will towards things that you really want.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, and I think, like you said, there's other things on our agenda that I think we
Yeah.
really want to
yeah.
push forward.
Anything
For
else?
me?
You guys are happy?
I'm sure they're gonna appeal it and probably,
And I understand because we, a group of our friends just went to Maine for that same thing, and there was this huge house, and there was like a small house here and a small house there. We had all these cars all over the street, and we were out drinking, and we're looking at these neighbors like, oh, I feel bad.
Oh, now I know what
They're
they're
probably a tourist area that's
So now-
zoned for that
Yeah.
probably too, like I
Well,
know
right.
Mike
No,
used
but
to
there's still like
buy-
this big giant house that does it, then the small
Yeah.
house that's been in for a while, big giant house, yeah.
And it's just, there is concern about crime and other things, because it was running like a hotel,
Okay.
and I know, because my friends actually rented it, is how I found out about it. I told
Yeah,
Erica, the
yeah.
house is gorgeous. I don't know if they live there much, because it's beautiful, looks like a hotel. I was like, man, if I ever have to sell my house, I'd want to hire them, but I don't think they'll talk to me now.
Has there been activity since, or no, it's quiet?
There was one that I think might have been a rental, but it
Oh, how's
was
it
probably
work?
small, because they reduced the number there, so when it went down to
Okay.
the 5, that limited, because I mean, I
Okay.
think there's 6 bedrooms in there, but, you know, that's another whole issue.
Well, right, did they
Okay.
already have deposits and booked out things in the future
Well, I
that
thought
they
Mike
have to
had
get
said
back?
they were allowed to just finish up whatever they.
Yeah, if they already booked
Okay.
stuff, you
They
can't have
had
them
booked.
probably
I thought that's
telling
what
people
he had
not to
said.
come.
Oh, okay.
And then once that was done, that was
Okay.
it. Because I think they had some current people that were over the 5. He had said, get through that, and then after that,
Yeah.
it would be the.
I mean, it's not just Bolton that's
Oh,
turning
no.
it down either, it's many towns
Oh,
that
yeah.
are getting rid of them.
Yeah, I was reading a couple of those articles that,
Yeah.
Well, is that
I
so?
think the neighbors
Yeah,
had.
I
I know,
know
it's
it sounds
really sort of
regular, yeah,
surprising, there's a
sometimes.
lot
Yeah.
more to
Well,
it
some
than
are
you
turning
would
them
think.
down,
Really
well,
is,
some
really
are
is,
creating
yeah.
2 residential zones,
Okay.
one that allows it and one that doesn't, so more of like a
Oh, yeah.
downtown
Yep.
type area.
That's
Yeah.
actually a good
Yeah.
idea too.
See, I like that, but.
So-
I think there
Yeah,
could be
what's in-
potentials
what's
of
in it
ways
for the
to do it,
town?
but
Yeah.
let's,
Do we have an Airbnb tax?
You certainly could.
I think
Well,
that's
good.
absolutely.
No, but I mean, yeah, I mean.
Well,
Yeah.
let's say you didn't.
The
Even if
state's
you didn't,
probably gonna
You
do
don't have kids in
that.
the school system and you got a house
They're
paying
gonna
20
give
grand in
back to the
taxes.
town.
Yeah.
So that alone is helpful. Again, you don't want to do it the wrong way and in the wrong spot. We've belabored it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you guys for your input. We appreciate it very much. Magic?
Yeah.
I will move that we appoint Erica as our representative on Magic.
I'll second.
Discussion.
All in favor?
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
Can I
Like,
ask
just-
what the
just-
magic representative?
What's the magic stand for?
Oh, jeez. It's one of those
come on.
crazy, it's like metropolitan area. No, that's not right.
Okay.
I can email it to you. It's a regional plan.
Congratulations, it sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, no,
That's what it does.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
And on that, I move.
Can I make a motion? I was like, can I make a motion?
Make a motion, go ahead.
We close for tonight.
Second. All in favor?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All
Motion
right.
carries.
This
Meeting
was-
is adjourned.
Yay, 8:30.
Nice.
Wow, that was efficient.
Oh, so I printed this out. When did